Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Covil's an area control game where you're having unique powers based on parodies of things from the 80s and 90s, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all the Care Bears and stuff like that. This really shouldn't work as a solo experience, yet it does. You get a dummy player, which I don't normally like, but it works, and it becomes a really fun little area control game. You can kind of manipulate what he's doing or take advantage of it, but that's when you can add in another dummy player. And the chaos of that, it's not chaos, it's an AI that just kind of works with it. I feel like it's a fairly good solo game that far surpassed what I think it could be. I don't see a lot of area control games that play solo without going to a computer in a board game format, but this one works fairly good, and I like it almost as much as the multiplayer. I can't really feel like what they're doing is much different than what a human player would be doing. And I actually learned a little bit about the multiplayer by watching what the AI or computer does in this version of the game. So I'm going to recommend this. If you're a solo gamer, I'm going to recommend this for an area control game to add to your collection. I think that you really like. It does require you to do a little bit of maintenance with the dummy players. Nothing too bad. You know, they always attack first, and they range, and then they move. And they don't actually do any of the card buying on it, which is nice. So it really, really works out for me. You know what you're playing against, and you have different scores that you're trying to beat to get to the ultimate position that you want to be in. So this one I'm actually going to recommend for you solo gamers. I end up being a solo gamer sometimes. I'm doing a little bit more reviews on these, and this is what I'm going to tell you to look out for. Covil plays well as a solo experience. Definitely keeper, even if you're just going to play it solo.
For the solo variant Covil, what you're going to do is you're going to set up a dummy board for the computer player, the AI, if you will. They will get one of their overlords. You're going to shuffle the deck of 2 coins together. Anybody that costs 2 coins, they're going to get 2 of those. 4s and 6s will be shuffled together. You'll get 2 of those, and you'll get one of the 8 and 10. So they'll be set up. They will not be drafting cards during the game. They will play with this setup the entire time. Then you would take the remaining cards, you will shuffle them all together, you will deal out 24, and you'll put 6 face up. The dummy player will not be using any power relics during the game. Instead, they will use utilizing those, setting them aside as victory points at the end of the game. When playing the solo game, make sure you're using the 1 through 4 map, and this will be the map that you'll be utilizing. The remainder of the setup for the player will be exactly like the multiplayer game. The only difference is the setup of the dummy players. To make the game harder or more interesting, you can also play with multiple dummy players. The goal of the game is to acquire more victory points than the dummy player. I'm going to go over a quick illustration of just how a turn will go. The first thing you'll do in the morning phase is the dummy player will spend 3 gold if he has it to buy a power relic. So for every 3 gold he has, he will buy one of these power relics. Remember, he will not be utilizing these during the game. These are just for victory point scoring at the end. I'm going to do a quick overview of what a dummy player's phase will look like in the afternoon. They will always go in a certain order. Now, in this illustration, green is the dummy player. If available, he will always do a ranged attack first. He will lay down and do a ranged attack. All other rules are like the multiplayer game. If he's not in a ranged attack mode, he will go here, and if he's available, he will do a melee attack and be set down and do a melee attack. If he is not available for either one of those, then he will always move. He will flip over a power relic card, and you will see the available spot here that is on there, and he will move to that spot that is available. So in this case, he would have moved there. The night phase, the third and final phase, works exactly like in the multiplayer game. Remember, the goal of the game is to earn more victory points than the dummy player.
As a solo experience, Covil actually does hit the mark. Now, this isn't something that you'll be playing to get a more of a score, although you kind of do. There's a dummy player the dummy player will be using the AI in a certain laid out pattern of melee, then range, and then moving. And it kind of works. It actually kind of works in this game. You can play against multiple dummies if you want to. But that's going to turn some people off having to play that dummy player. In this case, it works for me. I think it's fine for what it is. And I actually enjoyed my sessions of playing the solo. And I think this might be a game that I would solo again. I do like the references, and it does move a lot quicker with just one player. Yeah, that dummy thing going on. Maybe you can min-max it. You can kind of see what's going on with the dummy player and be able to react to that because they are kind of going in a systematic way. But you can add other dummy players and add a little bit more chaos to it. Maybe a little bit more chaotic where it's harder for your mind to process all that. But as a solo experience, I feel like it works. You just have to be okay with a dummy player. You don't really keep track of them buying cards. They get some random cards at the beginning. and then they move on rails, so you'll be used to that. But for me, for a solo experience, it's a definite keeper. I don't know if it's something I would track down just for the solo experience. I think there's some better solo games out there. But if you're looking for a light area control game, you can play solo, this is probably the one to get. So it'd be a keeper for me for a solo experience alone. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel, lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing games.